Our latest story is of one where someone has made a video that wanted to share it with Adidas, but Adidas rejected it, so he just thought, fuck it, I'm going to put it up on my own, and I'm going to see what happens. And unfortunately for Adidas, well, not so much, we'll get into that discussion, but it went viral, and it's went around and shared across the internet. So let's take a look, and we'll decide whether Adidas were right to pass on it, or whether they'll be eating their words now as they've seen it go out onto the interwebs.
We could be at an important point of the race here.
Viel Glück und viel Segen.
Run for home is on. Can they outsprint each other? Which one is the faster?
All right, so as you can see, some background behind the story. It was inspired by a recently deceased relative, a young German student, Eugene Mehrherr, made the touching tribute, as Jason looks at it on his phone, or nude pictures, or one or the other. And so,
it's not a Pornhub clip.
There's no nude pictures.
No nude pictures, all right. So basically he sent this to Adidas, hoping that they would at least acknowledge his work, but they never said anything back to him. So he was disappointed, so he went and posted it on his own. So the one thing that I will say on this is, Steve, I think you're familiar with this as well, being involved in some of the ads, and it goes on. Adidas, like, as a company, can't just take a video and be like, all right, let's put it out there and let's see what happens, because there's certain things you have to take into account. Like, you can't be promoting any other brands, whether you are aware of it or not. You can't be pushing forward anything that kind of hasn't went through their protocol. It doesn't mean they can't respond to the guy and be like, all right, here's a free pair of shoes, this was an awesome video, and it encompasses everything that we want Adidas to stand for. So they could have at least responded.
Steve, how many emails do you get a day, roughly? Ballpark it. 100, 200,
100,
300?
100, between 100 and 200.
100 and 200, right? So can you imagine what Adidas nationwide gets just daily? I'm sure they get tons of submissions like this. It's not that I think they rejected it. I don't think they ever noticed it. I think it was just another fan-submitted video, and he did a really, really good job, don't get me wrong. But now what's cool about this story to me is the fact that we live in a time where if this was 20 years ago, this video would never surface. There was no YouTube for this to surface. There was no social media for it to gain attention. And what's even more interesting is an article in I think it was Inquirer, which I was just reading a second ago, said that because of this video, it has over 8 million views on YouTube, and it started to go viral again back in January, even though it's a little bit old. It started to land him potential, as he said, interviews with other clothing and retail brands like Adidas, Nikes, and Coca-Colas of the world to do adverts for it. Just a good story.
Well, that makes sense.
It's a great story. There are a couple of issues here. So technically, he's not allowed to use that Adidas logo at the end.
Yeah, it's copyright.
Yeah, so I mean, theoretically, that if Adidas wanted to have really, really bad PR, they would sue him, right?
Yeah.
But that's crazy talk. They should definitely not do that.
Reject the video
and then
sue and take all the monetization.
Yeah, so Adidas, don't do that. But I think you're right. I think the bigger issue is, did Adidas even notice it? If they did not notice it, that is on them. Because our world has changed, okay? The world where Adidas used to pay an agency, a creative agency to come up with a concept, and an ad agency to execute on the ad and get it out there. That world is quickly dissipating. We have a new world where we have true fans of the product or service creating these homage videos because they deeply care from their heart. And those videos resonate with the audience. So Adidas and every brand that wants to grow big should have in place a process of making sure that these kind of videos don't fall through the cracks. Like, that's on them. They screwed up by not noticing this video. If they rejected the video, that's even worse.
Right.
All right? So Adidas, make sure it doesn't happen again.
Well, we know the protocol that often goes into coming up with a concept. It's a long, rigorous process. This guy basically could have just given them saved them months of work of coming up with an idea. Great idea.
This is like a $5 million video.
Yeah.
From concept to execution.
No doubt.
If Adidas went and hired all the different firms to come up with this, that's what they would have spent.
Yeah.
If they had gotten lucky and executed it this well.
Absolutely.
There's a good chance they would have spent $5 million and it would have sucked.
And I think there's maybe more. I want to find out more about the detail of the student behind it, but that looks so well produced, well acted, well shot. Like, I don't know, man. I think the ends are going to justify the means for it. I think he's going to get a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, Under Armour should be looking at him.
Yeah,
Their whole thing is the underdog.
Yeah, and he should make the commercial about the guy literally, like, once he gets through, the Adidas come and take his shoes back from him, and then someone hands him a pair of Under Armour.
Could they at least send him a pair of Adidas?
No,
like,
Adidas,
at the very least?
Adidas should say, that ad is awesome. I'm so glad that we inspire such greatness in people. Here's $1 million. Let us have the ad. In fact, we'll give you another $1 million for a second ad. right?
To give you $1 million.
That would be amazing press for them. Plus, they would get their brand extended to the right places.
Yeah.
So do you know actually, this is actually really interesting, who, before we'll wrap up on this, who does this really well, and not necessarily an artist that I love so much, but the Chainsmokers have a Facebook page and they have a massive reach with millions and millions of likes, and any video they post, millions and millions of views. So what they do a ton is fans submit covers of their songs, and if they like the cover, they'll post the cover, and it has led to so many just fan-submitted users and videos gaining popularity and having them either work with the Chainsmokers or find labels of their own to get signed.
More
Or even get the
promotion for their
opportunity,
songs and more promotion for everything.
So like, as you're pointing, it goes into that whole Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, social media. Like, it doesn't cost $5 million to make a great ad now. It really might cost you as little as a little bit of recognition.
Yeah.
A little bit like email surfing to find out. All right. Let us know
Moral of the
what you
story,
think.
check your email.
Yeah, check your emails. Don't let it, even the junk box, it might have been in there. Who knows, the spam box. Let us know what you think of this ad in the comment section below. Follow us all on Twitter. You can check out Steve's Twitter. We'll leave all of that in the description box, and we'll see you guys soon.